Well, it looks like for the first time in over a year, I should be live, and hopefully my internet is not crapping out at me. Technically, I'm talking to anyone in the future if this live stream goes well and if I decide to keep it up. For sure, there's probably no one watching yet, but I do always like to do a little bit of a tweet to let everyone know that I'm live streaming. I see a couple people, maybe someone's popping in here. So bear with me just one moment. I have no idea if my internet is holding up yet because I always have bad internet. So let me check and see if it's even watchable, if I can do this. And I think as long as I hold still, yeah. Oh, that's awesome news. Okay, one sec, guys. Let me share this. I'm so glad to see that it's actually pretty decent quality. Whoa. Yeah, test my internet. I'm basically testing my internet right now because it's been so bad for so long. At least for live streams. I can upload YouTube videos. I can work with all of which I do in this room, but live streaming for over a year has been a problem with me here. And so I was like, you know what? It's a holiday weekend. I'm going to try it. See if I can't do this and chat with you guys about some games. Okay. All righty. Let's see, internet. I think we're in awesome shape. Boy, does that make me happy. You guys have no idea. Sweet. All right. Let me full screen here. Boy, does this feel good. Cool. Hello, everyone. Check it out. I'm doing a live stream for the first time in, like I said, over a year. I believe the last official live stream that was quality enough for me to keep up on the channel was June. It would have been right after Metroid Dread was revealed. So, oh, I got a super chat already. Eric gave me $5. Glad you're trying to stream. Thanks, Eric. You guys let me know as always, man. It's been a long time. Let me know if my internet's holding up and if the video and audio quality is doing okay. I'm going to say hi to everyone in a moment, but I want to make sure that it's holding together because for some reason, man, in my neighborhood, the internet for live streaming is bad. The distance between my router, which is way over that way in my house, and this room has never been good. No one's saying anything, so I'm assuming everything is holding strong here. But if it starts to crap out, please let me know. I'm gonna have to probably switch internet providers in the future because it's been so bad. Okay, well, I think we're doing okay. Connection seems fine. Awesome. Thank you, Rufus. I appreciate you. Well, I'll say hi to some folks. Someone I don't even recognize, Cathias LG. How you doing? Trifix 543. What's happening? Ian Boast, who is an old schooler. Good to see you. Christian. Joel Ernesto. What up? Everything sounds good. Thank you for saying that. Lonely Labs Monkey. Today is a pink lemonade day. Know what I'm saying? I have no idea what that means. Does that mean something? I don't know what the heck that means. But I like pink lemonade, so. Paladin David, what's happening? Video game enjoyment. Hello. Is it Tiago's Law? Lopez? Oh boy, I have no idea how to say your name. Good surprise. Yeah, I'm just kind of surprising everyone. You guys know me, man. I don't know how to do fancy stream things and Streamlabs and OBSs and all this stuff that pops up on the screens and like graphics that borders everything. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. Countdowns for streams, forget about it. I don't know how to do those things. So I just kind of pop on as a surprise here. Why am I getting a weird text? Oh, I know why. We're good. Okay. That's DoorDash. Yeah, I don't know how to do that funny stuff. So I just like to pop on and surprise folks. Again, Eric, thank you for that super chat. Seems great. Hello, Badir. Hello, Sarouge. Rufus, like I said, hi to you. What will we be chatting about today? Man, whatever you guys want to chat about. I'm just excited to be kind of doing this and giving it a shot on a random Sunday. It's the day before a holiday here in the States, so it's a long weekend for most of us. It's a long weekend for myself. Yo, Jake, what's happening, Jake? My boy, Jake Gaston. Good to see you, man. Boy, we need to chat and catch up big time about a lot of stuff, my man, as I'm sure you would know. Juan and a Million, what's happening? All is very well. So I appreciate everyone popping in and saying hello. He said my name, I'm famous. Yes, Trifix. I hope I said your name correctly, but you're famous now. You're welcome. I have bestowed fame upon you. So, who else here? Jason G. Eric said, how's the arm or the elbow? Well, that's a good question. So some of you, a lot of you may know, I had a medical mishap last year, about a little over a year ago, year and 3 or 4 months, and I broke my shoulder. It was my shoulder, by the way, not my elbow, my clavicle. So this bone that goes from your neck down to your shoulder, where like your rotator cuff is and your shoulder joint. And so I broke it, and I had to get 2 surgeries. One was to put a plate in to heal the bone. The other was to take the plate out. They were 3 months apart. And it's pretty good. I'd say I'm about 95%. I've had to go back for some physical therapy and a couple doctor's visits. I won't bore you guys with that stuff, but long story short, it's good. I can do drumming for the most part, working out. I'm very close to my normal strength. And so I'm doing good. I think maybe a year from now, I'll probably be 100%. So thanks for asking. Looking and sounding amazing. I love to hear it. Thank you, Ian. That is my dream with how crappy my internet has been. So yeah, let's try to get into, someone asked what we're talking about. I just want to talk about games and life and just random stuff, just kind of catching up, because I haven't done a live stream in a long time. Thought it would be fun. Lonely Labs Monkey says, chat about some games. I've been playing Omori. I don't know what Omori is. Sonic 3, great game. It's a classic. Portal, great game. Don't Starve. I know of it, but I don't know anything really about it. I just know that it exists. So, gonna be a good weekend. I agree. What's up, 665 Steven and Void Mirror? How you doing? Video Games Enjoyment says, hey, Rob, are you pumped for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 this month? Because I know I am. As a matter of fact, yes. I am very excited for that. And I've mentioned before how I'm actually not a big RPG or JRPG fan. Specifically JRPGs, I struggle with those because they get so complex and convoluted, and the stories are like so long and insane, and they're very melodramatic, which is fine. It's just never really appealed to me much. But for some reason, the Xenoblade games, man, ever since the first one, which I bought on day one when it was a GameStop exclusive on the Wii, I love that series. I've loved every game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is definitely my least favorite, but it was still good, and I am really excited for 3. I think 3 looks fantastic. I'm nervous about it because really complex RPGs with all of their microsystems and their huge party members, and like when they're really menu heavy, that stuff, it just makes me feel stupid because I struggle a lot of times to even understand it, It's just like I don't think I'm a stupid person, but my brain has a mental block with really complex RPG systems and very menu-heavy games. And I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is going to be the most menu-heavy and complex of all of them. So I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm really excited, but I'm a tad nervous that it's going to just like go over my head, We'll see, but I'm really excited. Let's get down to business. How about those Metroid rumors, says Trifix. Yeah, how about those Metroid rumors? So, that was my last video, right? More conversation about Metroid Prime HD and Metroid Prime Trilogy HD coming to the Switch. It's been 5 years that we've been talking about this, and 5 years that we've been hearing rumors about it, right? So, what do we do about that? What do we say about that? Here's the thing. I believe it. I've heard things. There's been plenty of public statements, and whatever has happened with those behind the scenes or whatever release structure they're planning, maybe things changed, maybe the delay and the restart of Metroid Prime 4 affected things. That's been a long-running theory, and it's never been confirmed, but I sure believe it. And so I don't know. I mean, these rumors feel real. I guess we say that every year, don't we? It's kind of just the never-ending cycle of these Metroid Prime rumors, but I just think it's going to happen. I don't see a world where Nintendo ignores those games, or at the bare minimum, the original game, because that's one of the rumors, right? One rumor says it's the whole trilogy coming in HD. The other rumor says the first game is getting a complete ground-up remake, and maybe 2 and 3 come along at a later time. That's the recent rumors and reports from Jeff Grubb. Every single one of those options makes sense to me. And with Metroid Prime 4 being made, and we still don't know when we're going to see it, although I think we might see it this year, and I think we might play it next year. Just guesses, so don't crucify me for saying that. It's just a guess. Why wouldn't they release these games? They've already released like Xenoblade Definitive Edition and Zelda Skyward Sword HD, and I feel like there's another one, and they've brought over a ton of Wii U games. Like, why would they not? They brought over Mario Galaxy, right? Mario Galaxy and Mario Sunshine and Skyward Sword are all GameCube and Wii games. And they've done it, and the Joy-Cons can emulate Wii controls. Metroid Prime 4 is being made, so why wouldn't they do the same thing for the Prime games? Like, I just think it's going to happen. So all these reports that have been talked about publicly, the things that have been said behind the scenes, Jeff Grubb's recent comments a few days ago, it just all adds up, man. And Metroid Prime 4 on the horizon, I believe that game is on the horizon. Everyone thinks that game is a decade away. And it's like, dude, that game is not a decade away. It's probably like a year to 2 years away. It just is. They've been working on it for over 3 years, 3.5 years already since they restarted it. Like, it's going to come soon. And so, I don't know. I'm rambling because the Metroid Prime thing came up so quick in this, which I kind of expected. And I just think it's going to happen, you guys. I mean, is it for sure going to happen this year? I don't know. But I think they're going to release those games, or at least Metroid Prime, on the Switch. And I actually hope it's the remake of Metroid Prime. I've said it in my videos that, to me, fully remaking Metroid Prime is a better value and a better deal to me than releasing just an HD polish of the trilogy. Yes, we get more games. Like, you can't deny it. You get 3 games with the trilogy as opposed to 1 game with Prime 1. But if you fully remake Prime 1, like Final Fantasy VII, like Resident Evil 2, like Samus Returns, that almost becomes a new game. And Metroid Prime is by far and away considered the best of the 3. And you guys know it's my #1 favorite game ever created. So I just see more value in something that feels new by remaking Prime than by just taking the other 3 and just making them HD. Neither option would make me upset. So I'm not saying I would be disappointed if they did the trilogy HD, but I just like this Prime 1 remake conversation more. It makes me more excited. So anyway, obviously, Metroid had to come up pretty early here. So far, no one has given me any warning about my internet. I usually get scared to even check it because it's like I don't want to run 2 internet things at one time. We are killing it, though. It looks great. That feels good. I had to reset my router just to make it decent. So yeah, Metroid, good times. I got another super chat from Taker610, Taker610. Thank you, dude. $2 says, December seems like a good time for Metroid Prime Remake. You know, I agree, because Nintendo has shown that they're willing to release games in December. They released Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U in December. They released Chronicles 2 on the Switch in December. They released Smash Brothers Ultimate in December. And I think there's even maybe one other big December game in the last 2 years I might be forgetting. And so we got, Xenoblade this month in July. We have, I think Splatoon 3 is September, right? Mario plus Rabbids is October. Pokemon will be November. And so Metroid Prime, if they're making a remake or a trilogy, they could do that in November or December to me. We don't know what the hell is happening with Bayonetta 3. And I'm really seriously nervous that game is going to be a 2023 game. If it's not, if Bayonetta 3 comes out this year, I think it actually could be either October Or I actually think Bayonetta 3 could be a pretty good December game, you guys, if you think about it. If they're willing to do Xenoblade and Smash Brothers games in December, I think a Bayonetta 3 becomes a great December title as well. So maybe Metroid Prime, maybe Bayonetta 3, maybe nothing. Maybe there is no December game. I mean, it could be either or, right? So it's a good thought though, Taker 610. I like what you're thinking there. So I'm sorry, I'm going to skip down a bit, guys, and scroll down to the bottom because I've definitely had a lot of different questions and people come in. Good turnout so far. We're at 48, 49, almost 50 people. I haven't live streamed in 100 years, so this is very cool. Oh, Jackomac, my good buddy Jason. You didn't have to, dude, you can just text me. I appreciate you, but you don't have to send me super chats to chat with me. Anyway, my very good in-person, in real life buddy, $75 said, let's not forget Dead Space remake. Well, yeah, I'm supposedly kind of a franchise reboot. Metroid hasn't gone the way of Dead Space. Yes, it has. That's what Samus Returns was. But I know you're not a big Metroid or Nintendo guy, so you might not know that, and that's okay. But ways to add Metroid Prime 4 clues. Well, so, I mean, the Dead Space remake, I think I just don't think about that one because we haven't seen it yet. It's being made, and I'm super excited because Dead Space is freaking awesome. But in theory, what they're doing to Dead Space is the same that Metroid did with Samus Returns, which again is the same as Final Fantasy or Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 and all these other remake games, right? So yeah, it's a good point though, and I can't wait to see what they do with Dead Space. And you're right, it might almost act more as a reboot than a remake, maybe similar to what they did with Doom. But they also said it's they're calling it a remake though, so I feel like it's not going to be Doom. It's just going to be a remake. Anyway, thanks for the super chat, Jason. I feel like I owe you $5, dude, but you are the man. You are the man. Let me scroll up a little bit here, guys, and try to catch up. I'm so glad there's so many people here. I didn't know if anyone would even pop into this stream because it's been so long. Excuse me. I have also been very sick, some of you may know. I did catch the you-know-what last week, and it was really bad. So I'm still at the tail end of being sick. So I get a little stuffy, and I clear my throat a little bit. So I apologize if I have to do that, because that's kind of gross. So let me think. Jan D1 says, I hope your day is going great, bro. It is. It's a Sunday, and I'm live streaming for the first time in a year, as I've said several times. My audio sounds off. Uh-oh. Is my audio bad? Let me check. I'm just checking on my phone here. What you guys may or may not know is like I used YouTube's thing, which they've actually made better in the year since I last used it, which I'm really glad for. And the way it shows me what I'm doing within YouTube shows me like perfect video and audio quality. I have to actually go to the stream you guys are watching, like from my channel, to see what it looks and sounds like, which is really frustrating. So like if things start to go bad, I don't see it because I just see perfect. It looks like incredibly high quality with what I see, and I've got the chat. And so anyway, but it looks okay to me. You guys let me know. If audio or video gets bad, let me know, because that's the nature of my internet here in the Pacific Northwest, where apparently it just sucks really bad. So let me pick another question here. Pam Pam Tam Tam, that's a great name. Pam Pam Tam Tam says, I honestly like the GoldenEye type controls for Metroid Prime. Maybe. And I hope there are options to choose between motion or analog and 4. You know, I actually think there will be. I don't know how they couldn't. Nintendo in the Wii and in the Wii U era, we have to admit, wasn't the best about providing control options. They did sometimes, but I think by and large, they tried to force too many specific controls on people. A great example is Skyward Sword. Even though I loved it, they forced the motion plus controls on us. And people didn't like that, and so not as many people played it. But I think in the Switch era, we've seen them learn from that mistake. And Mario Odyssey, where you can use the motion control for Cappy, but you don't have to. And I liked using motion for Cappy, but a lot of people don't want to, so I think that was a smart choice. And even when they ported Skyward Sword, they created motion and regular controls. So I think that whatever their control schemes for Metroid Prime 4 are going to be, and I think if they re-release the trilogy, they're going to do the same for those. They're going to give us options for motion controls and for regular controls to help more people have access to play it. And I'm excited because, man, I love the motion controls for the Prime games. I love it to death. But there's something very exciting to me about playing a Metroid Prime game with kind of more traditional dual analog controls. That seems really exciting to me. Even though I would still prefer the motion, I just want to know what it would be like to play a Prime game the way you play a Halo game. I just think that could be really cool. So I guess we'll see. I got another super chat. Sorry guys, let me scroll down. From Derek, from Derek, my boy, the only fan that I've actually met in person, him and his wife. Dude, thank you for the super chat. You did not have to, but I appreciate you. Says, hey Rob, thank you so much for the content you create. Of course, appreciate you tons. Do you think we'll truly have to wait until September for full direct, or will we get one before that? Well, thanks, of course, for the kind words, dude. I appreciate you big time. What's going to happen with the direct, right? That's a big question. What do we think is going to happen with the next direct? I don't think we're going to get one in July. I think that everyone has their hopes very high, coming off of the Xenoblade and the partner showcase directs 1 week apart. Everyone wants to feel that they're going to give us another regular direct soon, like in July. And I want it. You guys know I'm like the only person on earth who really wasn't satisfied with the partner showcase direct. So I want another regular direct for sure. But most people were really happy with that last direct. And I feel like Nintendo probably sees that as a pretty big, successful direct. So what's the need to give us another one so soon? I don't think that there is one from Nintendo's perspective. So I just don't think we're going to see one in July. And I'm going to be real with you guys. This may sound pessimistic, but it's not pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't really think they have much more else to show for 2022, for this year. I think the next time we see a direct, part of what they're going to do is prepare us for games for next year. They're going to start to prime 2023. And so because of that, I think we need to make it further to the end of the year before they would give us that next direct, which means, to me, July is not on the table. I could be wrong. Okay, I'm just guessing, so I could be wrong. But to me, July is not on the table. August, maybe we get August. Maybe. Probably September or October, though. If I was to really guess and put money on it, I think I'm about 80% for September or October, like 50% for August, and like 10% for July. But I really don't think we're going to get July. So, yeah, I feel like most of what we're seeing in 2022 is known, Metroid Prime or Bayonetta could be like the two surprise games they still confirm for 2022. But outside of those, I don't know if you need a direct to confirm those. I would like it, but I feel like they could just announce those, give us a new trailer and say what's happening. And then the next direct near the end of the year is going to set up 2023. So that's my personal prediction. You guys tell me, or Derek, you tell me what you think about that. And if that makes sense. Excuse me. Josiah says, do I have the booster? I think you mean the booster shot. And yes, I do. But I still got the you-know-what. I tested positive. And my wife also boosted. She had it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. My symptoms were worse than hers, though. Which was really weird because I'm a pretty healthy guy. I mean, we're both healthy, but I'm pretty healthy. I eat well. I exercise a lot. And my symptoms were still strong. Yo, Sandstorm, what's up, dude? Good to see you in here, man. Sandstorm is an awesome guy, has a great channel. One of these days in the next couple of weeks, I need to finally get on a podcast with you on your channel again. We've been talking about that. Still mad at what EA did to Visceral Games? Yeah, me too. Prediction for the potential name of Metroid Prime 1 remake? Good question. I would say hopefully they just call it Metroid Prime 1 Remake. I tweeted about this. Game developers, if you're remaking or remastering a game, just put in the title if it's a remake or a remaster. Metroid Prime Remake. Alan Wake remaster. Just do that, you know? I mean, unless you do like, like Resident Evil 2 should have said Resident Evil 2 Remake. When they did Samus Returns, that's a little different because they gave it a different subtitle. So you don't do Metroid Samus Returns Remake. You just call it Metroid Samus Returns, and we know it's a remake. But for Metroid Prime, just call it Remake, Nintendo. Or if you do the remastered trilogy, just call it Metroid Prime Trilogy Remaster. That's my thought. Just put that in the freaking name. To all game developers, just put it in the name and solve the mysteries, please. None of this definitive edition nonsense either. That doesn't help the case at all. Unless you're just compiling like DLC content, that's when it helps. So a new Eternal Darkness. Oh, I want that. Is your name Mithulion? Ooh, Mithulion. Yeah, I want a new Eternal Darkness so bad. We'll probably never get it. All right, let me scroll down more, guys. Hello, Stakona. Voided Mirror says, could an open world Metroid work? Planet hopping, taking on bounties, gaining power-ups. Well, you already gain power-ups. You already gain power-ups. But yeah, I think that open world Metroid could work. Everyone talks about it. Everyone wants it. When Breath of the Wild came out, everyone was like, oh, we need Breath of the Wild for Metroid Prime. And it's like, well, I don't know that we need everything to go open world. I don't know that we need Metroid open world. But could they do it? Definitely. Definitely. Just like you said, it's a space sci-fi action game. Whether you make it first person or third person, whatever, like you could make it kind of open world and make it very non-linear. And Metroid already kind of straddles the line between linear and non-linear because you can go all over and find things and like pick your path. But at the same time, the order that you get your power-ups still determines your path to the end of the game. So from that sense, it's linear, but from the exploration aspect, it's non-linear, right? That's the brilliance of Metroid just by default. But if you make it truly open world and truly non-linear, I think there's a way to do it. I'd be open to it. I don't need them to do it, but I would be very open to it. And I actually think it would work best in third person. Do like an Other M kind of visual style and third person style, but make it open world, like you say, and maybe you can go to different planets. I think that could be cool for Metroid. It could work. Unpopular opinion, I never liked open world, says Joey. Well, that's fair. Not everyone does. Aaron says Batman Arkham City was like Metroid should be in 3D. I mean, I don't know if that's how Metroid should be, but I think it's how Metroid could be for a game. And I like Arkham City quite a bit, so that'd be fine. Derek says, completely agree about the Direct. After a few days, I have the same feeling about any remaining games that may come out this year. It took me a few days to get to that conclusion, though. Yeah, I get it. I think everyone was riding the high of that partner showcase. And again, all I could say is, everyone loved it but me. So everyone was really high on it, and everyone just settled in their way. But when you stop to think about it, it's like, well, maybe part of the reason they did that is they have not much else to show for the rest of the year. I mean, if they have any first-party games, it probably would just be a Metroid Prime port or remake, which is awesome, but it's an old game. It's not a new game. There's no new Nintendo games, I don't think, for 2022. And we're only halfway through, but doesn't it feel like we can literally pick out how the rest of the year is going to go? I think it does. So... Sandstorm says, I think the next Direct could possibly be a 2-in-1 for Splatoon 3 and maybe Bayonetta 3 if Bayo is this year, so could be soon. So do you think it would be a regular Direct that features Splatoon and Bayonetta 3, or do you mean they would give us like a mini presentation just for Splatoon and just for Bayonetta? Because I could maybe see that. I could see that, I guess. Interesting. Stakona, you say you hated Multi-Planet in Prime 3. It's interesting you say that because I didn't hate it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It's actually my least favorite of the Prime games for that reason. I don't think the way they handled the Multi-Planet thing in Prime 3 worked the best. And I feel like it made for smaller areas to play and walk through. I think Prime 1 and Prime 2's structure of just go to a planet, with a bunch of different areas and different environments on a single planet, I think that worked better for me. And it sounds like for you as well. But I still liked it. I mean, Prime 3 is a great game. And it was cool to be able to go to different planets. So there's goods and bads to it. But I'm with you. I prefer just Metroid Prime 4, just send us to one planet, bro. That's all I want to do is be on one planet. Oh, excuse me. Now I'm yawning already. It's only noon. Jason says, with the remake/remake trilogy, how would I feel if they added the option to swap first and third? I mean, for the Prime games, they just don't need it. It would be it would be interesting. And I guess, Capcom was able to do that with Resident Evil 8, which is crazy to me. So why wouldn't Nintendo be able to do the same, I guess? But also, those are older games. So I feel like adding that feature to older games is a totally different beast than Capcom doing it to something built very modern. So I don't know. And I just feel like Metroid Prime is just best in first person. So it's an interesting thought, though. It's a very interesting thought. Would I want Mercury Steam to make Metroid 6? Yes, absolutely. Of course. They killed it with Metroid Dread. Oh, my God. I would love it if they did that. And they might be doing it. We don't know yet. Mark McEwen says, I imagine an open world Metroid Prime being a lot like Fallout 4. Maybe even with Samus being able to leave her suit, or even with multiple power armors. There's a kernel of a good idea there that I've never thought about. What if there was a Metroid game? Doesn't matter what game. Prime 4, 2D, 3D, third person, whatever. There's a cool idea of Samus being able to willingly go into Zero Suit and Various Suit to take her armor on and off. I mean, you'd have to make the story and the gameplay built very appropriately around that mechanic. But if you do it right, that could be really cool. Imagine if you could willingly just be in your Zero Suit for whatever reason you would need to be. I don't know, for stealth or something. That could be really cool. That could actually be really neat. You got to do it right. They could also mess that up, so it could actually be done really poorly too. Tough call. Stakona says Prime 2 is the best. I know some people think Prime 2 is their favorite. I think that's great. I love Prime 2. I call Metroid Prime a 10 out of 10. I call Prime 2 a 9.5 out of 10. The game is incredible, and it's very underappreciated. Super Metal Dave pointed this out. Most people talk about and think about Primes 1 and 3. Prime 2 is weirdly left out of most Metroid Prime conversations. And that's crazy to me because it's an amazing game. I think it's better than Prime 3. So I'm with you there. But I still think Prime 1 is untouchable. Stakota says next Direct won't be until September. Splatoon 3 Direct in August. Maybe. That's possible with Splatoon coming out in September. Do I think Prime 4 will have a subtitle like Echoes or Corruption? Yes, I do. I really do. Metroid Prime 4, something. Silux's Revenge, who knows? But yeah, I do think that they will. Philip Williams says Prime 2 with the Stranger Things vibes. Yeah, I guess a little bit. But Nintendo also did it way before Prime 2 with A Link to the Past, where they had the Light World and Dark World thing. So Voided Mirror also says Echoes is your favorite. Awesome soundtrack. Yeah, I agree. I like the soundtrack to Prime 1 better, but Prime 2 is fantastic. Wyatt Rosebach, hey, what's happening? It says certain aspects of Super Metroid still haven't been topped, in my opinion, like interconnectivity and isolation feeling. I agree. I feel like I kind of think Prime 2, coincidentally, did the isolation feeling a little bit better than Super Metroid, or maybe on par. Tough to say. But as far as the interconnectivity of the world, I agree with you. Super Metroid is just awesome for that. They did that so well. E. Wolf says Prime 2 was a chore for you. I could see that too. It's a very long game. It's a very difficult game. And if you're not buying into the light and dark world mechanic, it can feel like a chore. I could see how you could say that, actually. I get it. I love the game. And I like the light and dark world thing, but I could see how it's a chore for someone. What are my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers? Well, Isaiah, I'm glad you asked because the internet freaking hates Sonic Frontier, and that drives me insane because I think it looks freaking great. And I think it looked great before Nintendo showed their own trailer for it. I loved what I saw from IGN's 2 gameplay reveals. I'm just baffled that everyone thought it looked so bad. I don't get it. I think it looks fun. Now, as I said in my recent video, I haven't played the game. None of us have played the game. So I could think it looks great, but then the game comes out and it sucks. And if the game sucks, I'll say that it sucks. But based on the trailers and the gameplay and the content showed pre-release, I have no reason to think it looks bad. So, you know, and like I also said this, the Sonic games have a bad track record the last 20 years. Like, there's no doubt. So the game may be bad, but I think it looks great. I love what they're doing. You know, everyone's like, oh, the world looks so barren and empty, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, you're not thinking about what you need to do to make a Sonic game fun. What you need to do to make Sonic fun is you need to make Sonic fast. How do you make Sonic fast? You need as few barriers in front of him and obstacles in front of him as possible. So you need a big, vast, open world with not a lot of rocks and trees and cliffs and enemies in your way at all times. You can create sections where you've got a bunch of dense stuff for Sonic to climb and to fight and maneuver around. But the vast majority of the open world being open with not a lot of things around allows Sonic to just go nuts. And think of how fun it's going to be for us to control Sonic going super blast processing crazy fast and not have to worry about hitting in obstacles and coming to a dead stop and maneuvering around things and not being able to go fast. I see brilliance in the world design from the clips we've seen. But everyone else wants everything to just be like chock full of so much crap in every frame that you see in the distance. And it's like, I think certain open world games like Breath of the Wild or Skyrim have spoiled people to the point that they can't take the open world template and think of how to make it work for a Sonic game. Sonic doesn't need the screen packed with stuff at every time, at every moment. He needs an open plane to be able to run across. So this is why I think it looks good, to answer your question. I know people will disagree with me. It just became fun for everyone to hate on Sonic Frontiers. Even all the diehard Sonic fans are like, oh, it looks terrible. I'm like, how are you a diehard Sonic fan? You don't see why this game looks really good. You know, again, looks good. It may play bad, but I think it looks good. Anyway, that's my rant. Great question. Oh, I got another super chat. Kieran Buckley with £5. Thank you, Kieran. Says, hey, glad to see you're doing better. Thank you so much. I am doing better. Question, if this remaster of Metroid Prime 1 is real, do you think it will have new content or an online mode? Great question. Well, here's the thing. If it's a remaster, no. I don't think they're going to add any new content or any new modes. If it's a remake, I think there's a chance. I think that there's a chance. It depends on the level of remake-ness, right? If they do like the Final Fantasy VII thing, then they're probably going to add some kind of new content. If they go like, what's a good example? I guess, Samus Returns, they added new content. Resident Evil 2, they added new content. Shadow of the Colossus, that's a good example where they remade it, but they didn't really add any new content. It's just the same game, but remade. I kind of expect it to be like that. I think Shadow of the Colossus is my best guess comparison. Guess, right? It's my best guess comparison. Where visually, it's just going to be rebuilt and the most beautiful thing ever. But I think it's essentially going to be the same game. And because of that, I also don't think they would add an online mode. But if they go farther, if they go as far as Final Fantasy VII and Samus Returns, I think new content and potentially a multiplayer mode could be built into it. But I think, the more I think about it, the less I feel like they would add an online mode, because I actually think Prime 4 is going to get the online mode. If I'm being honest, I think Prime 4 is where they're focusing all of their online multiplayer efforts. So that's what I would expect. You've heard it here first. That's my prediction. That's what I think is going to happen. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you big time. Let me get some more water here. I won't lie, guys, because I had the you know what last week, and it did affect like a little bit of my breathing and my throat and lungs. Oh my God, it was so bad for a couple of days, you guys. I just hope none of you have to go through it. It's kind of hard to talk. Like I get winded quicker still. Like I've been able to start working out and drumming again, but I'm still taking it lightly. So like talking this long and this much is definitely kind of like winding me still. Like I'm still my throat and esophagus and my lungs are still kind of healing from getting sick, you know. So forgive me if I have to take those breaks. How's my internet holding up? Am I still good? I am so excited that I can live stream today, you guys. Holy smokes. Looking great. Oh man, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. We'll try to hit an hour, 40 minutes. So I like to try to go about an hour. Usually my internet craps out in an hour anyway. So Sandstorm is talking to someone else. Sandstorm says it looks like a faster Sonic, but in slowed down gameplay. It's not solely about speed, but it's also about not necessarily barely. The fighting looks fun and the speed controls look great too. Yeah, I agree, Sandstorm. I'm glad you agree because I feel like everyone just hates that game, and I think it looks really good, you know? Maybe you and I will be wrong and it's a bad game, but that's the risk with every game. All we can do is judge it based off of its pre-release footage, like we do with every game ever. If we think it looks good or bad, we're judging it off the pre-release footage, and then the final product comes out, and then we judge the final product. And the pre-release footage no longer matters, right? So, yeah. Retro Cheat says, do I fear Nintendo releasing a new Switch too soon and the market isn't impressed with it? Well, that's a great question because you know me, I have plenty of opinions on new Switch hardware. If they release something this year, what like some people think they will, I don't, by the way. I don't think they will. But if they do, and it's just another little upgrade like an OLED or a tiny little Pro that does not much to change the power, I think it's too soon, and I do think people will be unimpressed with it. But if they follow my prediction, which is I think we're getting the next gen leap in hardware next year in 2023, whether it's a revision to the Switch that has next gen capable power, or if it's just straight up called Switch 2, I think that's coming next year. If they do it next year, I think well, I can't say it this way. I will say if they do it next year, it won't feel too soon. We're going to be in year 7 or 8 based on when it would release in the year. Wait, is that right? No, we'd be in year 6 or 7. Sorry. So if they do it like November next year, that's the 7th year of the Switch. It's a fine time. Sales are still phenomenal, but they are slowing. Game output, I think we're seeing it slow. The only game we know about for next year is Breath of the Wild 2. I mean, so game output is slowing. So I think if they do the next gen thing next year, like I predict, it won't be too soon. Now, will people be impressed with it is a different question because that's impossible to predict. They could release something that looks amazing, or they could release something that looks disappointing. Like the Wii U didn't impress people. I loved it, but it didn't impress people. So you never know what's going to impress. But I do think if they do it this year, it won't be impressive. If they do it next year, it has a much better chance of being seen as impressive. And I think they're going to do it that next year. I just do. NK3 says, Rob, a little out of topic, but if you played Neo, The World Ends With You, it's about to be the series' 15th anniversary this month. Well, believe it or not, even though I'm not an RPG guy or a JRPG guy, I did play the original World Ends With You when it came out on the DS back in the day, and I freaking loved it because it was so unique and so different, and using the touchscreen was such great controls and so fun. I loved that game. Then the sequel came out last year, and I downloaded the demo thinking I was going to be so blown away, and I didn't like it. I was like, I think I've grown a game like that, and it's too much talking and dialogue and text, and it just didn't work for me personally. So, I know people love it, and that's great. And you probably love it, and I think that's great. I loved the original one when it was on the DS, but the sequel didn't do anything to me for the demo, so I decided to pass on it. Am I a hot weather or a cold weather person? I can't stand the heat. I am a neither. I don't do well in extreme heat, but I also don't do well in extreme cold, man. I can't stand the cold. I get cold so easily. It can be 65 degrees and I'm shivering wearing a coat. In fact, I'm wearing a hoodie right now. What's the temperature outside right now? It's not very cold. It's pretty nice. Well, it's 66 degrees. So there you go. It's going to be 50s, 60s. And that's cold to me. I shiver. So, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. By the way, we've maxed out at 75 viewers so far, which I really appreciate you guys for. Horns of Satan in the thumbnail? Awesome, not. Says Antonio. It's the metal horns, man. I'm a metal guy. I'm a metal drummer. I'm a metal musician. Metal is my my genre of music of choice. So yes, metal horns. Kieran says, Kieran says, okay. Do you think Nintendo are being way too secretive about Breath of the Wild 2? It's been over 3 years and we still know little to nothing. I mean, the quality is a little off on my mic. Maybe it's because I'm doing a live stream through YouTube and not my normal recording. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, is Nintendo being too secretive about Breath of the Wild 2? It's a good question. I mean, I think for us as fans, the answer is yes, because we're fans. It's like, just give us the info, give us the title, give us the gameplay, give us the official release date. Just freaking tell us, you know? Sorry, I got a text. So we want it as fans. But, I mean, Nintendo's always secretive with their Zelda games. They just drip feed content and updates, and they take a long time to develop them. So what we're seeing with Breath of the Wild 2, sadly, is really just par for the course. So I'm with you in the sense that I would like to see a no more, but this is just what they do. And I've predicted it before, and I'll restate my prediction. I think the game will get delayed one more time from spring next year to holiday next year. I do still think it's going to come out in 2023, but I think it's going to be like November. I mean, I know the spring thing is exciting to people because we think of the Switch and Breath of the Wild releasing in spring and March. And it's like, oh, they're going to do an anniversary thing. I kind of feel like they won't. I think it's a lofty goal for them to think they could get it out by next spring. You know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just guessing, like with most things. I'm just guessing. But my prediction is I think they'll delay it an extra time, and it's going to be holiday next year. So, but yeah, man, I would like to really see the doors blown open on that game. I really do. Sorry, I know I can't get to every question, by the way, you guys. I just kind of have to scroll through and pick them as I see them, even though I don't really have a whole lot of viewers. Nintex2 Dope. Nintex2 Dope says my favorite metal bands. Well, there's so many. My favorite band of all time is Metallica, so obviously that's my favorite metal band and my favorite band. Pantera and Megadeth are also at near the tops of my list as far as like older bands go. More current bands, Between the Buried and Me is like my second favorite band. Periphery. I love Meshuggah. I love Misery Signals. I love Protest the Heroes. I love Within the Ruins. I love Black Dahlia Murder. R.I.P. to Trevor, who just passed away recently. And then, I mean, I could just pull up my music library and start listing off bands. Killswitch Engage, In Flames. There's so many. Lamb of God. So yeah, I just named like 15 bands. So I'm gonna stop there. But those are my favorite kind. Those are my favorite metal bands. Yeah, prog metal is life. I agree. Yeah, Periphery is fantastic. Matt Halpern, the drummer. Oh my God, that guy. He makes me want to quit playing. It's just that he's inhuman. Same with Blake Richardson from Between the Buried and Me. So good. Born of Osiris is another band. Fear Factory. I gotta stop. As I lay dying, all these bands just start coming to my brain. So I gotta stop listing off metal bands. My own metal bands, of course, but that's all kind of in a weird place right now because of the pandemic and people moving, unfortunately, band members moving. So kind of on a reset phase, unfortunately. Excuse me, guys. Pardon me. This is why I only ask one question per stream, to be fair. I'm not sure what you mean. R008IN, I don't know what your name means, says, yeah, a lot of third-party companies are more open with development of their games. It sucks with the lack of updates, but the quality of Zelda is usually on point. Absolutely true. Completely true. Nintendo is more secretive than they need to be usually, but their games almost always justify that. They very rarely miss on their first-party stuff. It does happen. They do miss, for sure. I mean, not everything is a hit, but most games are. So you got to just kind of let them do what they need to do, because by the time we play their games, they're always great, you know? Do I think Nintendo has any more surprises for this year? Maybe one, Davids, maybe one, like the Metroid Prime remake, for example, or remasters. But outside of that, probably nothing else. I think everything else is going to be for next year. I was thinking the dollar thing too. I'm not sure what you mean there. JKP Rising says, hey, Rob, ever thought of doing a Metroid Prime remaster playthrough to release up until Metroid Prime 4? You mean if they release the remasters? I might, but here's the thing. I'm not set up to live stream gameplay. I don't like to live stream gameplay. I used to do like Let's Play videos, and that was a lot of fun, but it's a ton of work. My capture equipment stuff is not set up near my game consoles, so I don't really have a good way to do that anymore. You know, my computer is here in this office, and all my gaming stuff is in my main living room. So I don't really have a way to capture what I'm doing and set up with the camera and a microphone. It's just a lot of work, you know, and I don't do YouTube full time, so it's not worth the effort. I just do it for fun. It would be fun, though. It would be really fun to do something like that. Maybe, you know, I have a TV here, and my old console's hooked up on a TV right over here. I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it. We'll see what happens if they even release a Metroid Prime remaster. So, nice. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you. Do I think God of War does release this year or get delayed? Honestly, I do think it's going to happen this year. I think they want it to hit this year so bad, partly because they need another big game for the holiday, and partly because Microsoft had to delay every single big game they had this year. Like, I like Microsoft and I like my Xbox Series X, man, but Microsoft has crap for games right now. Losing Redfall and Starfield hurt so bad. So I think that Sony really wants to release God of War this year, man. I really think that they do. So hopefully it happens. Oh, my name is Robin with a play on James Bond. So it's R008. Got it. Am I going to play? Wait, what? Oh, am I going to move Zig for great? I have no idea. Oh, Zero Wing. Oh, because of the bad translation. All your base are belong to us, I think. I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha, Jason. That's funny. Do I think Metroid Prime 4 will have dual stick controls? Yeah, we talked about that earlier, Jiron. Someone asked a question about that. And I think that they're going to give us options for both. Excuse me, guys. I think they'll give us options for motion, and that they're going to give us options for dual analog, which could be really cool. David says, in terms of Xbox, I've heard Psychonauts 2 is good. You know, Psychonauts 2 is like definitely like a good, well-made game. And I was really excited for it, but I didn't like it. However, most people did like it. And it was even nominated for Game of the Year last year. So it's a quality game. I recommend trying it. It didn't click with me because it was a little too like text heavy and cutscene heavy, and it It just drove me crazy. But it's a cool world, and it has good gameplay. So, excuse me. Meta says, would you think the potential Prime 2 Switch version would have updated or online multiplayer? Actually, yes, I do. I think just for that one game, they may turn on servers for the Switch version of Prime 2. And that could be really cool. So yes, I do. Kieran says, very optimistic about Starfield. I was sold on what I saw last month, and it still has more time for polish. Yeah, I think Starfield looks great. Another instance where everyone's crying about a game because people just get so weird about stuff. People were upset about Sonic Frontiers, and they're upset about Starfield. I think both games look great to me. Again, final product may differ, but based on what we've seen, they look really great. I'm super hyped for Starfield. KOTOR 1 and 2 dual pack for Switch, but those games are already out though, so you can just buy them. You know? Yeah, Voided Mirror says it perfectly. Psychonauts 2 had so many cutscenes interrupting gameplay. It was annoying. Exactly. That's why I stopped after like 5 hours. It's like I just want to run around a world and just do things with my buttons, and my analog sticks. I don't need to stop for dialogue every 37 seconds. And Psychonauts 2, it's good, but it did that. And I was so annoyed I had to stop playing it. No, I missed you, but Major Blazer? I don't know why you said no. Oh, because I'm almost at an hour? Yeah. I'm going to probably close out pretty soon here. It's been really fun to live stream again. I miss doing this. Methulian says the only reason to be upset about a game in dev is if it is P2W. Oh, pay to win or microtransactions. I think that's what you mean. Hello, George. Yeah, you're 56 minutes late. I'll go for another couple minutes here. What do I think of the new Mario and Rabbids game? Kieran, I'm excited. I'm not like losing my mind for it. I really enjoyed the first one, and I think the second one is going to be very good. It's not like a defining game release moment for me this year. It's like, to me, it's like, yeah, that's going to be good. It's going to be fun. But I'm not like, oh my God, what do I think of Nier Automata? I think it's very good. I really like Nier Automata. It's lower on my list of platinum releases, but it is very good. It's a fun action game. It's a good game. So, what is my opinion? So, Jiron says, beating all Metroid Prime live. Let's go. Nah, I doubt it. What is my opinion on voice acting in the Metroid series? I think for logs, NPCs, it will be more immersive. For Samus, I don't know. Oh, okay. I see what you mean. What's the best way for them to do it? Here's the thing. I don't hate Samus talking in Metroid Other M. I know I'm the only one in the world who feels that way. I don't hate it. However, I can admit it's maybe not the best way to do it. I don't need Samus to talk in a game. So I would say Samus, maybe outside of 1 or 2 lines here and there. Like, I loved the way she talked in Metroid Dread. She had 2 lines in Metroid Dread. I think you could have her talk a little bit more often than that, but still keep it very infrequent. But in general, I don't need her talking throughout the whole game. NPCs and mission logs, absolutely. Atom Computer, absolutely. Like, I think that stuff is great. So I'm with you there. Sandstorm, what do we think about Mario Odyssey sequel? Yeah, I do think that's still very likely. And it's funny because, this is another one where I differ with most people. I think Odyssey is just good, not great. I don't think it's an amazing Mario game. I think it's just good. It's very good, but it's just very good. However, the template for Mario Odyssey is tailor-made for a direct sequel. And so I would love to see them do it. I would love to see them improve on the Cappy thing or change it or do something else. And I think that they could make a better game if they make an Odyssey 2. So I think it's very likely being made. And I think that could be a game we see announced in the next 6 months to a year. It probably would be a launch or a title for the next gen console, or a at the very least, right? He's noticed a few. Oh, am I missing? I mean, yeah, it's hard to. There's so many questions, you guys. I'm not sure. I mean, it's hard to catch them all. I kind of just scroll up and down and find questions. So I apologize if I miss it. There's just a lot of questions, you know. And if I stop and answer every one, it'll take me forever because I spend like 5 minutes on a question. Still can't get over how they named Cappy after your cat. Hey, if you have a cat named Cappy, and if the cat's name predates Mario Odyssey, that's pretty insane. What are the odds? That's super crazy. David says, I think they're making a Bowser Fury style game, a big open Mario game. I also think that's possible. I've talked about that for a while. And I would actually, you know, I would like to see Mario go open world before I see Metroid go open world. Believe it or not. If I could pick, that's how I would do it. Oh, nice. Abner says you also like Samus talking in Metroid Other M. Good for you. So do I. Odyssey 2 ain't happening, you don't think? I think it might. I really do. I do. Kieran says, I personally want a huge open world Mario rather than an Odyssey sequel. Yeah, I mean, I would like that too, but at the same time, I mean, Galaxy 2 was such a great sequel to Galaxy. I think Odyssey 2 could be the same thing, you know? That's just my opinion. That's just my personal thought. All right, well, we hit an hour. I'm pretty tired. As I said before, because I got sick with the you-know-what last week, it's a lot of extra effort for me to talk nonstop for so long. So I'm probably going to just wrap up here. But this was fun, and hopefully I can keep this going. I'd like to get back into live streaming a little bit more regularly. I like doing it more in the summer than I do in the winter. And also, as crappy as the internet is in my area, it does always seem like it's better in the summer when it's drier. In the spring and summer when there's less rain and there's no snow and stuff. Thank you, Josie. Yes, it's good to be streaming again. Wyatt says, I wonder if Retro will continue with Metroid after Prime 4. They might. I definitely think that they might. Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate you all for tuning in. More speculation videos are coming. Oh, Forrest gives me a $10 Canadian dollar donation right before I end. Dang, I'm out, so can't see the stream. We'll watch the vid later. Okay, I'm going to keep it on unlisted, which means if it's unlisted, you'll be able to find it through your history, okay? So that's how you can, I'll keep it unlisted. I'm not going to delete it, and I'm not going to make it private because then you can't watch it, but I'll make it unlisted, which means if you've been in this stream, it's going to be in your YouTube history, and you can rewatch it there. But I want to answer Forrest's question. What does he say? Oh, curious how I feel about Colors 2. Oh, I think it's amazing. I think Colors 2 is freaking awesome. It's my third favorite Between the Buried Me album. Fingers crossed for Prime 4-1 remaster this year. Yeah, I think we're going to see both. I think we might get a tease for Prime 4, and I think there's a great chance the Prime 1 remaster or Metroid Prime Trilogy remaster, whatever, is going to happen. I think it's happening. I believe Jeff Grubb. I believe other things I've heard. So fingers crossed that happens. Okay, guys. I'm going to call it. This was really fun. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in to my first stream in over a year. And I'm going to try to do these more regularly if my internet allows for it and if my work schedule allows for it. Because I've changed careers since I last did a live stream. So I still have a lot of flexibility, but things are just different in my scheduling. So anyway, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for everyone who watched. I appreciate you big time. And I will see you on another video and another stream sometime in the future. Until then, let's hope for more Metroid. Bye-bye.